My name is Darren Yap, and I empower stuck, busy coaches, therapists, small business owners to get out of their own way so that they can level up their business with confidence and ease. And the stuff that I do also is suitable for anyone who feels like they're they're getting in their own way and haven't got that clear head, that clarity, that sense of calm as they go about their sort of daily living. And today's talk is going to be on something I created called the Happy Way, and each of those letters, they stand for something, and it's taken from decades of experience in Tai Chi, Qigong, mindfulness, coaching, and therapy work. And I've sort of consolidated, if that's the right word, or whatever, condensed the concepts, the key concepts, down into 5 things. And this came about in 2020 when obviously we had that pandemic and we had to stay at home. If you may remember that, and to stay at home for a couple of months. And for some people it was hell, and for others it was fine. And thankfully I'm in that fine. I was in that fine category, and it made me think, how come I was in that fine category? And a lot of people that I spoke to, they were really struggling. And bear in mind that I ended up in a box on my own, house. And I remember the first lockdown, was it end of March? That was for 2 months, and you weren't allowed to go out apart from to do your shopping and to pick up petrol, or to go to emergency stuff. So I basically, working from home, I just stayed in my box for 2 months, and I was on my own for 2 months. The only people I spoke to on Zoom, the cashier at Tesco, and that was pretty much it. And so I did think, how did I manage to survive in a kind of chipper sort of vibe the whole time? I managed to figure out it was down to these 5 things, which I will now present to you. So the Happy Way, this titled this workshop, Happy Way for Joyful Living. The H, the first letter in happy, stands for honor the body. And this is about feeling, what does your body need versus what does your body want? And what is your body telling you? For instance, is it telling you to rest, because you've been like burning the candle at both ends? You might be craving wine, but what do you really need? And what nutrients might you need? And it's about listening to also when something happens or someone says something, how do you feel about it, and asking why you feel that way. So really going deep, because we can find clues as to what drives us. A simple one might be, if you go into a room full of people, and you may notice your shoulders start to rise up to your ears, and you start to lower your head, and it's like, why do you do that? Why do you move in a particular way? So that's on a really simple level, but as I say, it does go much deeper. Why do we move in a particular way? Why do we'll tense with certain words? And this leans on trauma, that whole idea going into what triggers us. So that's H, which stands for honor the body. The second letter, A, stands for non-judgmental awareness. And this, for many people who are watching this, they might understand this as mindfulness. One of the sort of popular definitions of mindfulness is to be in the present moment on purpose and without judgment. And it's this idea of focusing whatever is going on right now. So, for instance, you're watching me, you're listening to my voice, you're hearing what I'm saying, and it's about saying, okay, I'm going to listen to that, and I'm not going to pick up my phone and look at my phone. So I'm choosing to listen to Darren's voice and to watch him as he gives this presentation, and also doing it without judgment. So, for instance, you're going to listen with an open mind, and you're not going to judge, oh, what does he know? But also, if you find that your mind drifts off for whatever moment, because, say, for instance, your phone beeps, you don't criticize yourself for it. So you still practice that non-judgmental awareness. So you don't judge yourself. You come back to listening to what I'm saying, and you continue, because you've chosen to pay attention to me as I'm talking right now. So A stands for awareness, specifically non-judgmental awareness. So the first P in happy stands for practice. And this is about whatever you're doing in order to for self-development purposes, and for anything that you're doing where you want to improve in some way. It might be your business, it might be your fitness, it might be your studies, or it could be your work. Whatever it is, you practice it. If you just practice, for instance, if you just do 10 press-ups and never do another press-up in your life, you can't expect your pectoral muscles to grow. You can't expect any level of fitness. If say I don't know, say for instance, you're following a diet plan and you only follow it for one day, but then you go back to all your bad habits, then you can't expect that day to have any effect whatsoever. So it is about practice and practice and practice. And then if you sort of fall off the bandwagon or whatever, fall off the wagon, sorry, then you don't going back to A, which is non-judgmental awareness. You don't judge yourself for it. So you just continue to practice and practice, and you might forget one day, but then you come back and you practice, and we just don't judge ourselves for it. So it's really treating yourself with a very compassionate way as you practice. And this nicely moves on to the second P, which stands for play. And this is about also practicing, but experimenting and seeing what happens. If you make a mistake, not judging yourself for it, just seeing what can you learn from that mistake. Okay, so if you, for instance, you are trying to lose weight and become more healthy, and then you perhaps, I don't know, you might go shopping when you're hungry, and you go to your corner shop, and then you just buy everything. You just buy all the biscuits, all the crisps. So it's like, okay, that's falling, you're not going to working to the plan. But when we'd have a sense of play, we're thinking, okay, well, what can we learn from that, so I don't go to pick up food, or do my sort of top up shopping when I'm hungry. It's a simple thing like that. So yeah, and it's experimenting, whatever you're doing, just experimenting, not judging yourself, and going for that real childlike approach to life, where you're just thinking, oh, what happens if I did this? What happens if I did that? And seeing what the result is. And you don't judge yourself for it. Like a baby when they first try to walk. They'll try to stand on their legs. Maybe they'll use the sofa for support, and then they fall onto their bottom. But they don't go, oh, I'm never going to do that again, I'm useless. They do it again because they see their parents doing it, and they do it again, and they keep doing it, and then eventually they're able to walk. So the second P is for play. The Y stands for yield, and this comes from my Tai Chi training, where we never do force against force. We're never pushing. So if we sense a greater force, we always yield to the greater force. And this doesn't mean to say you get knocked over. And in contrary to that, if one person's pushing against another person and this side is stronger, rather than being knocked over, you yield, which means that you would just let them go by. You let them go by, just like if someone pushes my shoulder. A nice sort of a simple exercise that I sometimes do with my Tai Chi students is when you push the shoulder, rather than stiffening up, in which case you get pushed backwards, as the force comes onto my shoulder, I turn. So the stronger the force, the more I will turn. And that means that if you imagine you were to shove me on my shoulder, you're expecting a resistance, so you can knock me backwards. But if I turn, you're going to go flying past me. So yielding will create an opportunity. And this is why I say that if by yielding, what opportunities are there for growth? And for instance, for me, I know during 2020, when they said stay at home, I thought, okay, I'll do that. And then what opportunities are there? So I started building my online network. I started doing more online Tai Chi classes. And prior to 2020, I always wanted to start teaching stuff online, Tai Chi and Qigong and mindfulness. And I kind of did the occasional one, but I never did it properly. And then 2020 gave me the opportunity to then create my own membership for online learning of Tai Chi, Qigong, mindfulness, and it's been a real benefit in a way for me. And it's challenged my own learnings of this sort of spiritual, if you want to call it, realm, where you don't put up fighting against everything, and you learn to yield, you learn to accept. So that's basically the happy way. So there you go, as simple as that.